Welcome to GWC. My name is Magembe. In our channel, we discuss beekeeping, agroforestry, cow farming, and some other investment ventures. In today's episode, we'll be looking at challenges you face, challenging tasks that you face when you start beekeeping. Because as we discuss this, we want to share information, and I know that most of you to watch this video either have an interest in starting beekeeping or you're already beekeepers. So we keep on sharing information so that this information, you can pick one or two things to help you in your beekeeping journey. For those ones who are already doing this, you will relate to the challenges that I'm going to discuss today. But if you're interested, you haven't started beekeeping, be aware of these challenging tasks that we'll be discussing here today. And in case you're not subscribed, kindly subscribe to our channel. So the first challenge you face as a smaller scale beekeeper, it's on pest management. When you start beekeeping, you realize that the bees get affected by different types of pests. For example, spiders, wax moth, we have surveillance, we have small beetles, and some other more parasites, predators that actually affect bees. And you want to realize that this is a big challenge. For example, us here in Kenya, we experience surveillance, spiders, and the wax moth. For our case, wax moth has been one of the biggest challenges because once the wax moth realizes that your colony is weak, it actually gets in the colony and it starts laying eggs and starts actually affecting the whole colony, and finally you lose the bees. What we have experienced is about out of the percentages of the hives we have seen that about 5% of hives have been affected so far. But the other day I was talking to my friend who's a beekeeper too. He realized after doing the first harvest, he realized that 2/3 of his hives have been affected by the wax moth. So imagine if you are having 30 hives and you realize that 20 of your hives have been affected by the wax moth, that's a disaster. And from our experience, what we have realized that once a wax moth gets into your hive, it's not very, very easy to actually eradicate the wax moth, because there are some of the hives that have tried to clean up and put them back to decolonize them. And once they get the colony, the wax moth affects them again. So, of course, there are different methods that you can do to eradicate the wax moth, but it's not easy. These things are like bed bugs. In case you have experienced bed bugs, it's not easy to eradicate bed bugs. So wax moth is the same thing once it gets in your hive. So you got to realize that pest management is one of those challenges that you face. So you have to study more. You have to be inspecting your hives more so that you can detect earlier that your hives are being affected, and you can take steps to eradicate these pests. The second challenging task that you face is apiary management or hive inspections. As we have said this before, we recommend a monthly inspection, which we say is mandatory. You have to be inspecting your hives to see how the bees are faring on, whether they're healthy or they're being affected by pests and other things. So, of course, these inspections, depending on the number of hives you have, can be very challenging. When you're inspecting, of course, the bees, the African wild bees stings. So even if you're wearing the bee suit, sometimes you make a mistake and you don't wear the bee suit nicely. You get a few stings. This is of course very challenging, and at the same time it's very time consuming. And because most of these apiaries that we have, of course, they are where people live. They are not somewhere in the forest. Like ours, we have put them in a coffee farm. Means there are neighbors around, and we don't inspect during the day. We inspect at night. So what this means is that you are trying to work overnight to deal with the bees in the dark. That is of course challenging, but to make sure that the neighbors are safe, because bees can kill people and they can kill animals. So you realize that doing inspection is very challenging. And another thing we have seen, apart from that, for example, those of us who say, okay, we can set up the bees somewhere in the village, and we can train someone to be doing this job. You realize that it's not easy, because a lot of people don't have good work ethics. So they might not inspect the hives the way you can inspect your own hives. So I recommend to my fellow beekeepers that if you have started this business, you're going to need to train. You wear the bee suit, you have your smoker and all the equipment that you require, and you go there, deal with the bees alone. At least once in a while. You might not do this every time, but to check your hives. That is the only time that you're going to know that you're going to succeed in this business. But if you just set the business and they say, oh, you can hire some bunch of guys to do this for you, you're probably going to fail, unless you are a very established businessman or woman. You already set up a company, you have employees that you have trained on how to do this. That's on the time that you succeed. But otherwise, if you are an individual, small scale farmer, and you just say you're just going to send some guys there to inspect your hives, I'll tell you, they will not do a good job. So this is one of those things that we have seen, that this is a very challenging task. Inspecting your hives is a big challenge, because if you don't do it right, then of course you will not expect a good yield from your bees. Another challenging task that we have experienced is harvesting and extracting. So again, as I said, because our apiaries are based at the station, where of course we have neighbors, we harvest at night. We start harvesting around 6:30 in the evening, when the bees have come back and have come down, because bees are very wild during the day when it's very sunny. So we try to harvest in the evening, and throughout the night, when the bees come down, and at night bees don't see. So you see, it's time consuming, and imagine working at night, in the village, you're out there in the farm at night dealing with the bees. This is a very challenging task. And once, of course, you have harvested, you have to extract the honey. And extracting honey, it's not a very easy task. It's time consuming, and it's very, very, very messy, because you have to deal with the honey. You're having your honey extractor, and of course, it's not everyone who has an extractor as a small scale farmer. When you're starting with 3 hives, 5 hives, 10, probably you haven't bought an extractor. So it means that probably you're doing this manually. You're pressing your combs to get out the honey, or you're eating it up to extract the honey. So it's a very challenging task to harvest and extract your honey. To get out clean, well-filtered honey, it's not that easy. So be aware that this is one of those challenges that you face. Although what I've seen some other people do is that you can team up. So in your locality or in your village, if you have 5, 10 beekeepers, you can always team up and buy these equipments together, because the equipments are expensive, and you can put the resources together. You buy the equipments, and you can be using these equipments to actually harvest and extract honey. This might make the work a bit easier, unless you're a big company that has already this machinery for extracting honey. But as a small scale beekeeper, of course, this is one of the challenges that you face. Another challenge that we have faced is filtering and packaging the honey. At the beginning, of course, we've been, we give people pure raw honey. And raw honey, what it means is that it contains some of the impurities. It contains a bit of wax, there is propolis, and there's some other particles. Of course, if you're a beekeeper, you know what I'm talking about. That when you're getting honey from the combs, there are some particles that, of course, come with the honey. And if you don't filter these particles, all of them, from the honey, after a month or 2, this honey will solidify and crystallize. And if you're giving this to your customers, there is a lot of customers, of course, who don't like crystallized honey or honey that is solidified. they think it's actually bad honey. They think that this is adulterated honey, and this is a challenge. So to be able to filter your honey to a point that it will not crystallize or solidify, and that then you package very nicely, it's a challenge. It's a very big challenge. Of course, as a small scale beekeeper, you don't have all this sophisticated equipment for doing the filtration and doing the packaging. If you have set a big company, of course, big companies have all this machinery for packaging and labeling the honey jars. But of course, as small scale farmers, we kind of have to do this manually. You do this alone. So this is time consuming and it can be very messy. So this is one of those challenging tasks that you have to be aware of. And the fifth challenging task that we have seen is actually accessing the market. Honey and the bee products are on high demand. This is a fact. Again, as I've stated here over and over, that here in Kenya, we import 80% of the honey. So it means the demand is there. There is no supply. So that's where we have to get it from, other countries. Accessing, but still accessing the market is a big challenge because, for example, if you want to sell your honey in a supermarket, it means you have to get certification, KEBS certification, like here in Kenya, and some other requirements for you to be able to supply honey to a supermarket. And of course, as a small scale farmer, this is an added cost. There is a lot of bureaucracy, of course, to get these certifications so that you can be certified to sell your honey to supermarkets and other places. So it means, yes, honey is on demand, but because you don't have this certifications required, you are limited on where you can sell your honey. And of course, most small-scale farmers, they are in the village. So what happens, maybe they don't even have access to big cities like Nairobi. And this is where the middleman comes in. They take advantage of small-scale beekeepers, and they come there, they take your honey at a very low cost, and they can make double or triple the profit. So you see, this is a challenge to access the market. And the solution I've seen people doing this, again, as I said, is that you can team up smaller scale farmers, or beekeepers. You team up, you can always bring your honey together, and you can even form like a company so that you can have now more honey to actually supply to big companies, and or get someone that can be selling the honey in big towns or cities, because accessing market can be a big challenge. Again, even I quoted last time that there is these big companies that are doing a beekeeping management. They buy honey from farmers, but the problem is that the sell price, the price that they buy from the farmers is very low. For example, they can give you about 500 shillings per kg. This is very low. But if you are selling retail on your own, you can sell this 900 or 1,000 shillings per kg. So you see, accessing the market is a big issue. But again, fit so that today we discuss this. We go over through these challenges so that as you start beekeeping, then you can be aware of these challenges, and you can always look for information and ways that you can tackle and reduce these challenges so that you can succeed in beekeeping. Again, thank you for taking time to listen and watch our videos. And in case you're not subscribed, kindly subscribe so that we'll continue growing this community. Beekeeping is good. It's good for the environment and it's good for your pocket. Thank you. We'll see you in our next video.